Hey guys, welcome to your last week of high school. I'm sure you're really excited about it, maybe a little disappointed in how it ended, but hopefully you'll finish strong here and we'll be able to wrap things up by the end of the week. So I just wanted to kind of go over a couple of things for the rest of the week so you have an idea of what to expect. Plus, I wanted to kind of review what you read last week, particularly with book two. Now you will be into book three. I haven't really posted anything yet this week, but you were to read the rest of book two, which was chapters 5 through 10, and then I told you to skip chapter 9. The only reason I had you skip chapter 9 is because it kind of reviews everything that we talked about when we started into the novel. So what happens is Winston gets a hold of a book from Goldstein, and in that it kind of outlines everything of what we know so far. So let's take a look at chapter 5 here. So Syme, remember Syme? He was from book 1. He was the one that kind of talks about how he's proud when children turn their parents in. Mr. Parsons also had mentioned that, but Syme also vanishes at this point, and there start to appear new propaganda posters about the town. Now, that means they have changed enemies. Now, for a long time in book 1, it was all about how the enemy is Eurasia. Now, in this part of the book, it has changed to East Asia. And the reason that they do that is to make sure that the proles and the other part of the population, they start to believe what the government is saying, even though it is definitely very clear. But the government wants them to believe everything, which makes Winston's job quite difficult because remember, he has to go back through and change history based on what they've said there. So as Winston and Julia, they continue to meet in this room with Mr. Charrington. Their conversations about overthrow and Big Brother, kind of seditious thoughts about it, kind of continue to strengthen. So then in chapter 6, at work, O'Brien tells Winston that he has this Newspeak dictionary at home that Winston can stop by and borrow, and realizes at this point that this is like an invitation to go to O'Brien's home. So he decides that he's going to do that. So then in chapter 7, Winston tells Julia of his father's disappearance, his mother's desertion of the family. So we kind of find a little bit more dynamics out about Julia, and the couple realizes that they're spending so much time together that they're becoming more human. This isn't something that is basically fictitious now. This is something that is very accurate, and this is actually going to kind of lead to their demise there. So chapter 8. When Winston and Julia arrive at O'Brien's home, they're shocked that the inner party members can turn off their telescreens. So that's huge. That's a big thing. Now, Winston's part of the outer party, so he does not have that ability. The inner party, which is about, I would say 1 to 2% of the population, they have the ability to turn it off. So while disconnected, O'Brien confirms that he's part of an organization called the Brotherhood, and they're trying to overthrow Big Brother. So the inner party swears Winston and Julia into the group. They tell Winston that he will be receiving a book that outlines the Brotherhood's belief about Big Brother. And that's basically everything that I've told you to skip over in chapter 9. So it kind of talks about he receives this book and begins reading it, and that really outlines everything that you know that you learned in the background so far about the book. So, so Julia, she does end up falling asleep in Winston's room as he reads it out loud. So then in chapter 10, this is really where things kind of take off. This is a short chapter, but it sends into motion everything that happens in book 3. So in book 2, chapter 10, Winston and Julia, they wake up in the morning, they realize the room is surrounded by thought police, and they are arrested. So even though they think there is no telescreens inside the room, there was actually one in there the whole time. It was hiding behind the painting that Julia had said she needed to work at cleaning. So they are arrested by the Thought Police and they are turned into the Ministry of Love. Now keep in mind some of the things that happen in book 2, particularly about like Winston's fears, those are going to come into play here in book 3. Now last week you did it was a little bit of an early journal prompt, but we're kind of running out of time here. I had you do something on Stockholm Syndrome, and that's going to come into play here today. So, or this week, you're going to talk about how Winston starts to fall in love with Big Brother. And that's really where Stockholm Syndrome kind of comes into play here. So it'll make sense once you get into that. So that's that. That's for book 3. Now, what you're going to do this week is you're going to finish reading the book. I want you to take the test. The test, there will be a review sheet posted. So you'll be able to take a look at that, and you're always welcome to ask questions. You can always come during office hours. That would be fine with me. Or if you want to shoot me a message with something that you have questions about, I'd be happy to do that too. So just keep that in mind. Give me about 24-hour turnaround to get those questions answered for you. So just be aware of that. Now, the other thing that you're going to do this week, and this is going to be helpful, particularly when it comes to boosting your grade if you're getting concerned about that. So what you're going to do is called a reflection. And it's super easy. This would have been part of your exam grade, but we're changing that since you don't have final exams. You will actually be taking a look at a reflection. And this is going to be 40 points summative. So this is going to be super simple for you to do. So actually, let me get into Canvas here and show it to you on that route. So you'll have several things to choose from when you do this. And there'll be a link posted. I don't have it set up quite yet, but there will be a link posted. It says senior memoir reflection piece, and this is not part of the exam, but it'll be summative points here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at one of the 5 prompts that I have here. So if you could relive a high school experience or 2, what would it be? What are the most important lessons you learned at Lake High School? How have you changed since you were a freshman? How do you hope the next 4 years will be different from the last 4 years? And number 5, what important lessons do you want to share with the upcoming freshmen? So then in the last paragraph of that, you're going to talk about how you're going to broaden the topic, something personal to a universal lesson that others could learn. So most of your prompt, which is 2 to 3 pages, is going to reflect on one of these 5 prompts. And then the last paragraph, please don't forget to include this information here. So how is this going to be graded? So you're going to get 20 points for sticking to the prompt. Basically, did you write it? Okay, did you answer the question? You'll get 10 points for organization. Basically, it's not one long paragraph. It's not just random thoughts, but the ideas kind of flow coherently. Then you'll get 10 points for strong sentence structure, editing, sense of personal style. So since this is a formal writing, you are welcome to use personal pronouns since you're going to be talking about I, me, you, your, that type of thing. Does need to be in MLA format too, so make sure you have that. And I will be required to have you turn it into turnitin.com. Not that this is, I'm expecting plagiarism, but I've had issues with this assignment in the past where students actually tried to take something online, even though this is like a memoir about yourself. So pretty simple, and make sure that you submit it on time. It'll be due Friday by midnight. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's not a difficult writing prompt, which is why I think this will boost some of your grades, particularly those of you that are kind of like right on that cusp between a 60% and passing. So just look for things to be definitely posted by tomorrow morning. Actually, it'll be probably posted this afternoon, so you can get started on any of those things. But let me know if you have any questions. I miss you guys. I hope things are going well. If there's anything at all that you need, please don't hesitate to ask. I look forward to hearing from you guys soon. All right. I will talk to you guys later, and we'll see you soon. All right, bye.